Hello and welcome into the Sorare Data Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare, joined today by Harry Trades as a normal Tuesday. And PSU Fans 2 is back. All it took was a gigantic Sorare announcement. Sean, welcome back.
Thanks. Excited.
Thanks everyone for coming in. Let me get through this because we got a lot to get to today. Ricardo, Sorare Maddie. I haven't seen Sorare Maddie in a while. And Fraxi on the podium. So congratulations to you three. I'm not going to go through everyone, but I will go through some of these, like DNP Donkey saying, I've missed Sean like Nunez misses chances. Great to see you back.
I saw he's linked to Saudi. That is a perfect spot for him.
Ooh.
Like, that guy should be in Saudi Arabia.
It's a good call. Maddie said, I was hoping they would make Rivals great again, but apparently they'd rather remove it. Which, no spoilers. Sorry, I shouldn't have even put that up. But yeah, I pointed out one. Oh, I'll have to do this. Pasco said, and of course, MLS news is amazing. Sean may have a bit of a different take on this. Maddie said, clever than make MLS super attractive now so that the price of the in-season cards will be huge again.
Tell you there's probably sure a reason they didn't announce the prize pools.
DM Star, I am a moron and the MLS is the best comp. But anyway, where was that? I just said it to you guys. And now here we go. Daniel, MLS officially the 4th best league in the world. I can't even hear the Serie A from up here. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming in. Casper didn't miss the, did somebody mention threshold? They sure did. Anyway, lots to get through. Gentlemen, I think we should just go through it. I think the best thing for us to do is to do it in English. But if anybody who speaks French, German, Spanish, or Italian, the blog is there for you. Let's just go through it. Into Rosie, I'm here purely for Sean's positivity. So let's see how long we can keep this going.
You better start at a different spot than you probably are going to start at.
Sean, we were in a Discord talking about this a little bit. There are some good things in here, according to you.
I'm not saying everything in here is something I do not like. I'm not saying everything in here is something I like. We'll have to see.
And I would almost go as far as to say the one thing, like the single most important thing that is that we would want to talk about is not actually in here. So we don't know if it's good or bad.
Exactly.
So how about that?
The most important part of the update was once again not answered. Ooh, wow, I'm shocked.
No, it just wasn't for this. Anyway, did you guys watch this video with Dan?
No.
I haven't yet. I can't lie. I haven't had time.
3 minutes. Excellent video. Frankly, you don't need to read the thing at all if you just watch Dan, which is kind of funny because he's like, read the blog for more details. And really everything was in there. But anyway, MLS is back. A gigantic January update. Now, they did say somewhere that they weren't going to do like big gameplay changes in January. They'll do those in August. I have no idea if that means they will announce them in March, February, who knows? But we are leading with MLS. And Sean, you seem to be not as excited about the fact that MLS now has its own competition in season and classic and doesn't have to worry about all of those little leagues around Europe like the Eredivisie and the Jupiler League to compete against.
Yeah, I want to know, because this is literally everyone right now. Where the hell are you guys all getting your information that this is definitely a positive? Because I sure as shit am not seeing that. I'm seeing that we don't know. And like, if you're coming into this and you're like, yeah, they're going to make the MLS as big as the Bundesliga and those guys. I mean, you go with that, but that sure as shit doesn't seem likely to me. But hey, we will have to wait and see. I am cautious about this because if they make it, you guys got to realize the MLS cards you can now use nowhere else, that except for like weekly specials like that, whatever. But
weekly specials are definitely a thing, though.
What?
Like we have them. We have global comps every
game.
But
we have global comps that suck. I wouldn't like. They're not good typically. Like
I mean, one is Van Dyke Super Rare in a global comp.
What?
Keith's Van Dyke Super Rare was in a global special.
Most of the global comps, when you look at them, do not give out a tier 0 at this time of the year. Now, maybe when overlap's happening, they will. But again, like, I mean, it's not the best option for them. Challenger is now like a PSV special weekly, which is interesting. But yeah, basically the thing is, to me, is we need to see whether or not they treat MLS well. If they come out here and make the MLS prize pool a steaming pile of shit, which would you guys both agree that's possible?
For in-season.
Yeah. Classic doesn't really matter from the fact of like you need to know what the in-season is going to be because that's going to drive the Classic.
Mm-hmm.
So would you guys both agree that it could be a steaming pile of shit? Not saying it definitely will be. I'm saying it could be.
It's non-zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So if it is, MLS just got dumped on worse than the K-League has.
I think at the same time, you have to say the opposite, though. It's possible that it's really
good. Then you could be like, oh, wow, MLS really moved up to some extent. The amount, I guess, would be questionable because, like, it's an individualized league and it's not you can't play guys elsewhere, like within Challenger, like you can with, like, Bundesliga Prem card. So, like, if it's good, it's at least probably a positive or at least a neutral, but we don't know. But yet every single person is acting like this announcement is just like MLS is going to be treated like I think if MLS doesn't get the same prize pool as at least the Bundesliga, if not the Prem or higher, it's like a really bad situation for the MLS, and we just don't know what it's going to get yet. So to me, the confusion is more so that everybody seems that it's a positive more so than it's like guys, this could be really bad. It could not be. It could be good too. Like, there's definitely a lot of question marks on it. What do you guys think about it? Like, what do you think it's going to be?
Well, just a quick thing here, because Kennedy hits this here that you could only play MLS in Challenger specials in U23 now, and now you can play it in MLS specials in U23. So, like, the number of spots doesn't change.
That's fair. That's reasonable. But the prize pools could be, and the prize pool could be really not good. And at that point, you're like, this sucks.
Not the only, but one of the things in my head is kind of ringing is that they mentioned there's a threshold for the limited and rare, right? MLS only. So, and one's to do with like a 4 and a 1 split, and then a 5 in season card split.
Yeah, so
right?
the in season MLS is 4 and 1, and threshold is 5.
Got you. Okay, so there's obviously money being allocated. Well, I guess there has to be money allocated to that threshold, right? So, is that like, you know, is that going to take away from the MLS in-season prize pool, if that makes sense? Like, how is that going to look? You know, like, what's going to be bigger? Obviously, there's not going to be a super rare version because they said limited and rare. So, yeah, that's something to think about, I guess.
Charlie's saying, why would MLS get a prize pool on the level of the Bundesliga when the player prices are a third of the Bundesliga? And Charlie, I think the easy answer is there are 18 teams in the Bundesliga and there are 30 in Major League Soccer.
Well, and those guys in the Bundesliga, you can play in more competitions, and those prize pools, like the Bundesliga sales and stuff, goes towards champ as well. It's not just derived and given to this. And then Pascal said, why would the prize pool be not good? I could ask the exact flip side of that. Why would it be good? Because they've definitely shown signs of not really caring about things that are not the Prem and the big couple leagues in the past.
Maybe this is their change, though. Maybe they're turning a stone. I don't like you said. We don't know, and we're not going to know for the next couple of weeks. It is mad though. Someone said in the chat, Challenger has 2 full leagues now licensed.
Yeah, because they gave up most of the Turkish Super League, and they never really had all of Portugal or Denmark or English Championship.
Right. Yeah. Like, I'm a bit worried about that prize pool, to be honest. Like,
well, that prize pool is like what we see right now.
Got you. Right. Okay. Yeah. Fair.
Like, it's not going to get. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's not going to get significantly better than where we are right now.
Well, that might not. No, that's actually not true. It's actually going to get worse because they give out MLS cards. So, like, removing them means that, like, there's going to be less rewards over the course of the year, in theory.
Right. The only in-season
fewer cards, though.
Like we just said, like, MLS is 30 teams. The Derivative EC is 20, and the Jupiler is 16, like, give or take. I don't know exactly what they're at right now.
Yeah.
So
Obviously,
like,
Denmark will be added as well in a few weeks or whenever
Yeah.
they come back. But
and like they get away with giving more now because during MLS season they give more MLS cards, which now that's not going to be there. So it's just it's going to be worse. Like they're going to give worse cards in general because not worse, but like less. But there's also less cards that can be played there and less competition. So like it
yeah,
kind of
Challenger
I think it kind of evens out from the classic.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah, Challenger
I don't
forwards and
think that
mids
matters.
though are good right now. Like Jacob Brown is like better than Messi at this point. Like like because he doesn't have to play against Messi in a month's time. You know what I'm saying? Like those Challenger cards are better now, even because they don't need to play against the MLS smashers. Basically, it's mids and forwards.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things that, like, a lot of people look at MLS. There's basically two ways to look at MLS. If you're like a heavy challenger player that really like focuses on the European leagues, and MLS comes back and you're like, oh, I got to deal with Carlos Heel and Messi and all those guys. Or you're at the flip side, you're like, great, now I don't have to, and let them go somewhere else, and I can try to win with my rotated Luke de Jongs again.
Well, in theory, that's a bad on both fronts thing as well, because like people, let's say there's MLS only people, like Gator Guy's a great example. He doesn't like the European leagues. He would rather just MLS focus. Well, in the past, he had to get some European players. We've literally talked, like I've talked to him recently, like you have to have European focus and you can't just ignore it during the overlap season or you're just going to get crushed. Similarly, those people in the Europeans that don't want to play the MLS, they previously had to consider the MLS guys. Like you couldn't go into everything without all these MLS guys. So what you've done is you have segregated both of those options to where now they will not have any interest in theory in those cards from the other region. So you just removed pools of players that don't want to play those that previously were forced sort of to like at least have some or at least have some exposure to it to be like, yeah, now I don't give a shit now. Also, there's like now the negative, like if you have MLS cards and like, let's say you're playing MLS guys, and one guy transfers, well, like you literally can't play them together anymore. Like that guy is for sure gone to non-MLS league, assuming he leaves the MLS. Well, all of a sudden you're boned. Or similar, like let's say you have a full challenger team and then that guy transfers to the MLS. Well, you literally have nowhere to play this guy. So it's just kind of a dead zone where I think it's just like not great. But like, and yeah, like I think Challenger has just sort of for right now become a PSV special weekly, with like small interactions, like because it just you've taken away a lot of the guys that compete with the PSV guys on a week basis, because MLS guys are guys that can compete with them at least at the midfield and forward level, whereas now that's not going to be as much the case.
I agree, but PSV haven't been that good recently. I want to point that out.
Yeah,
but in general, yeah, you could probably generalize that. But like Veerman hasn't been starting. Like
correct.
Those sort of alphas haven't been as alpha-y outside of Buscaglia, right? Like
yeah.
He's literally the only mainstay, if we're being honest, in Chal right now. That you go pick one player, you pick him by like, and the gap is quite like large because Veerman hasn't been playing, right? And
no, he's been subbing in,
right,
back from his injury.
Yeah, so like you know what I mean, like so far it hasn't been that crazy as far as like what PSV are doing.
Yes and no, but like you could just replace him with Tillman, and Tillman's been smashing, I think.
Apart from this week where he dropped a -6.
Yeah, but like, I mean, otherwise, like Tillman's been really good for quite a while.
Yes,
he has 3 100s in his last like 10 games. So, but yeah. But anyways, like also like to me, and this part is a purely me thing, and this isn't like everybody. I know people will have differing opinions on this. I like Global All-Star. I think both of you also like that format as well. I don't like the individual league format. Like to me, it's just like when you have the individual league format, it's like no matter what, all those players from that league are in that competition. So when they go nuts, you're just kind of, you need them or you're done. Whereas like when it was like global or there was other options, like, okay, maybe some will go here, some will go there. Like I like the overall aspect of things. I like intermingling my players and playing guys in the MLS with guys from Belgium, guys from the Netherlands. I like that personally. I understand some don't. So like that's just a personal preference for me than others.
I think the one thing that we can't, like, I guess I'm like correcting you. The expectation is that there will be some sort of global comp every game week, whether it's a cap mode, a giant player special, whatever the hell this one is called. And there's always something. So like if you are an MLS only player, one of your players gets transferred, you can play it in this global comp. And it was one thing that I was talking to Keith before this, and he was like, MLS, you could always play your MLS cards in the All-Star competition, whatever the global competitions are, which is very similar to what I hear from a lot of people who play Contender, that they prefer to play their Contender cards in the global comps, because that's still the place where you can use guys like Wendell and Douglas Santos and Romelu to win theoretically the best cards. Like Quinny won Mohamed Salah, which is arguably one of the best cards on the platform this season, and he won that in All-Star. And so it's like, I think that's still there. And so with MLS, like, yeah, you lose the ability to play them in the MLS comp, but that's the case anywhere. If you only play Challenger and you have a guy that transfers to somewhere in Champ or Contender, like, it's the same thing. Like, you can't play unless you get those other cards. And that's why these global comps are so important from a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, but like, so this upcoming weekend, the global comps for classic cards, like, you have no shot at getting a tier 0 and super rare level. None. 0 chance. You have, like, you can get a couple at the rare level, but there's just not, the prizes just aren't great. Unique level, like,
well, they're low because most people don't enter them. Like, they have like low entries at this point because people
yeah,
are
like, I don't know. To me, the global comps are whatever. Like, they need them during the midweeks, but like on the weekends, it's like, ooh, a tall player contest. I don't give a shit about that. Nobody gives a shit about that. Like, it's just, I don't know. That's just not interesting to me.
There was where was that? Nanzo brought it up. Here we go. Is it more cash for new MLS comp, or are they diluting Challenger and passing it to MLS? I think it's possible that it's just the difference between what Challenger was with MLS versus now. Like, whatever that money was, like, there was Challenger with all of the leagues, and then there's Challenger without MLS, and that difference maybe is the MLS prize pool.
Yeah, but like in that scenario, both prize pools could just be like really uninteresting.
But I mean, the Challenger prize pool is what it is right now. Like, that's it. Like, this is the prize pool without MLS. What we're seeing now.
Well, yes and no. Like, there's some leagues are not playing to some extent now, but like, I mean, yeah,
I think everything's playing in Challenger right now.
It's just them.
I mean, leagues
right, 2 teams.
Yeah, leagues have been on and off for
like
the last 2 months.
$1,500 for top prize in race in season D1. When MLS comes around, or when it was here, I think that was like 2.5 max, maybe like 2.2. I don't think it was 2.5, honestly.
No,
might be correct.
Sounds,
yeah, it was like 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. I can't remember it being like a flat 2.5. But anyway, like what Laird's saying is that the 700 or whatever. I don't think people would be happy if it was just like, let's just say 7. You know what I'm saying? I agree with you though. They're definitely shaving that off and going, okay, let's just double it. Or maybe I don't know. Is it the equivalent of? We don't know, but it could be the equivalent of Challenger. Why shouldn't it be? Because the actual licensed teams, team for team, is this very similar to Challenger.
Yeah,
like you said, 20 in Eredivisie, 80. It's not a million miles away from what the MLS alone is. 30 teams. So,
yeah, I agree with Harry on that. Also, like I said, like I'm not being negative right now about it. I'm saying that, like, I think that 100% of people being optimistic is wild. I think there is options for both things to happen, and I think this is what happens though. Like, right, like something like this happens. Would you guys both agree that currently the MLS announcement is like neutral, right? We don't have the information to fully agree, but 100% of people seem to be super excited about this and think it means it's going to be like a super big plus for the MLS and stuff. Whereas like we don't have the info. And if the info is bad, people are going to be like, we all thought it was going to be great and it's not. And people are going to be like, damn, this is bad. So I just hope that there's not like a bomb that hits that it's like, oh, this sucks and this isn't as good as we thought. And then everybody ends up going from like 100% excited to 100% negative about it. That would be like a concern.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of pretty equal of the people, like the people, what we said before, who like play Eredivisie and Jupiler and don't want to have to deal with the MLS cards, and they're gone now and they're like, great. And on the flip side, people who like basically focus on MLS and hate having to deal with PSV, and now they're like, oh, now I don't have to. Like, I can play the guys I want. And somebody made a comment in the chat earlier, and somebody, I think it was in one of our Discord conversations as well, but like the popular Challenger strategy was like avoiding MLS goalies and defenders and like going with Brazil or any of the European ones until you run out of time. Now it's Brad Guzan season, baby.
No, I think the main thing is like what I've seen in Discord and chat currently today. There are a lot of people using like definitives, like it's good for this, it's good for that. We just don't know yet. There's other things in this blog that we got full and concrete information on. This was not one of them. And for right now, I think it's up in the air.
Right. Just Heat said, I'm positive because I want to play MLS only to win MLS only prizes. Trying to follow and compete with European leagues just isn't as enjoyable, but I also play Prem only and not Champ. And I think is there pretty standard people who play European leagues like, I don't want to have to stay up and follow MLS. Agent Cooper said, am I right? The only way to win a Messi is with a Messi now, which I think the answer is no, because they could drop Messi's in these global comps and that's where you win it.
Or you could play Gabriel Peck, who's probably better.
Or both. Use Messi to win Peck.
Yeah, Messi to win Peck.
There you go.
In a few months, though, in a few years, didn't they want to change the MLS to like a European schedule? Or was I just imagining that?
So yes, that was discussed.
Yeah, so that could get a bit funky again. They'll be back to Challenger in a few years.
Do you think they like? Obviously, the calendar allows them to an excuse, but do you think it really is really that?
No.
Like if that was the case, like if calendar was the problem, then we would have some other contender competition with Argentina, Japan, Korea.
Yeah.
Like,
good point.
I don't think
we're not solving a platform-wide issue here. We're just kind of taking MLS out of Challenger.
I think what likely happened is a lot of people that provided feedback in interviews and stuff said like, I don't like the MLS or I don't like the European. Like, I think a lot of people probably that was the feedback they got. And so they're like, all right, we're going to separate them, which, hey, could be good. Like I think it's definitely valid for those people that don't want to deal with the other one, that it's separated. But I think there is negative consequences possibly that come along with that too. So I think we just have to wait and see what the full reward breakdown is. All right, can I ask a question? Do you just feel it's ridiculous that they don't have the actual info for the MLS competitions? Like, how do you put out this announcement and not have that information? To me, that feels ridiculous.
I'd be shocked if they don't have it the day the early access cards come out. I'd be very disappointed because what incentive do you have to buy those cards?
Well, I don't think it's I don't think there's any possible way they could start selling early access cards without knowing exactly what the in-season prize pools are. There's no way.
They must have a ballpark, surely.
Sure. But I see no reason for them to start selling cards with an entire community of people being like, I have no idea what I can win.
So I agree with the ballpark situation. I agree with that. But you can't announce a ballpark. But like, why did they need this announcement today? It could have been in a week when you had the final answers. Like, that's why I don't understand why we had this without that information when you could have just waited a week and then had that information, or 2 weeks. Because if you guys are right, which I don't disagree with you, I agree with your both of you on that. If you planned, I think we assume they're going to start selling MLS like February 1st. Like, that seems to be a reasonable number. Why didn't you just release this like 10 days from now once you have the full information? That to me makes way more sense than just announcing it now and be like, we don't have any information, guys.
No, I think it'll be later than that they start selling them. Didn't they do? Wasn't it 2 weeks that they did the European ones?
I think it was 3, but I'm not positive.
All right, because they don't start until March 1st, right?
Yeah, but J League starts the 14th, 15th, so they're going to start selling cards in theory for that.
Yeah, that I get, but like you don't need like we'll have that prize pool. We have that prize pool information. Like that's what they announced today. But like the MLS, I almost would argue that the MLS prize pool and what they're doing is so big that there's so much in this blog that adding that on top of it is just too much. Like I have no problem with them waiting on that. I really don't.
You don't have any problem with them not announcing the MLS information today?
Today, no, I don't.
Okay.
There's like I wasn't looking like we can't go out and buy cards today anyway. Like for the in-season cards for next season. and we now know that the MLS only competition is coming. If I feel like I need to save money for that, I'll do it. But like, I'm not making any like decisions right now based on MLS and needing that information today, as opposed to in 2 weeks or whenever they do it. As long as it's in enough time before the early access cards, like, and even if that's like a week, I think that's more than enough.
That's fair.
I don't know. I'd like to know what's on. I know it might not be possible, but I'd like to know. Well, in red, there's going to be 2,000 at the top of the MLS prize pool every week. So then when Brad Guzan comes out on the 1st or whatever, then I can kind of work out in my head, well, yeah, he shouldn't be 300 quid. He probably should be, I don't know, 150, whatever it is. Like, at least you can work with something. I don't like working with the unknown, because those first early access cards could go for astronomical amounts. They could end up going for, stupidly low amounts. It just doesn't. No one's going to know. I don't know if I like that, and I don't know if Sorare would want that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think. Like, I don't think that there's any reasonable chance that these cards go on the market before we know what the prize pools are.
Got you. So you think they're going to release the prize pools first, then cards come out? Okay. Yeah,
I'm not going to say with 100% certainty. I will say it 100% should be the case, but I'm not going to say it 100% will be.
Yeah. Fair.
I don't like to go to 100% on anything, but it's a lot of nines after the decimal at 99%. So yeah. All right. Are you surprised that no leagues moved from contender to challenger to make up for MLS coming out?
No.
Not really. Not really. Because a lot of those leagues have like massive splits and winter breaks. You're not really messing with any of that in challenger, really, outside of Denmark's a bit funky, fair enough, but it's the only one, isn't it, really?
Also, all the leagues that they moved, like all the leagues in contender, they moved most of them there like in the summer. So and none of them I think would be realistic in challenger anyways.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
The only situation I was considering was actually moving all of the Champion Europe second divisions to challenger, because it does feel weird. Like, I realize the championship is supposedly on a much higher level than 2 Bundesliga, Serie B, Ligue 2, and what did I forget? La Liga 2. But like, it does feel weird that they're split.
Yeah, I agree.
But also like moving all 4 of them seemed like a lot. And so, but whatever.
Question I have, 1 second. I'm not positive. Doesn't the Danish league play like their window? When is their schedule?
They basically, like, this past year, they started 1 week before Jupiler. So it's possible you're
going to have a lot of issues, I think, with like one issue that I think you're going to have is just like there's going to be random times when stuff just doesn't open because there's just not enough licensed teams because it's weird weeks. Which is
that's
fine.
When you win Messi with your Danish Superliga cards.
What?
That's when you win Messi and All-Star with your Danish Superliga cards.
Yeah, valid.
Let's see. So yeah, the MLS threshold requires 5 in-season cards. That's fun. They're calling it beat the game.
We all agree that we can't even comment on that yet because we literally don't know. Also, like, here's another concern I have with MLS prize pools, that they take a shitload of the prize pool to give it in thresholds, which would just be a dumpster fire for that.
Sorry, say that again.
If they take like all the MLS prize pool and they give a shitload of it in threshold instead of most of it into the rewards, that could be a dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm. Like in season's nerf because of the threshold. Yeah.
Sean, how much of the update did you consider from the in-season perspective versus classic?
What do you mean?
Well, like before you were talking about like, stars given out in certain places, and it just felt like you were looking at what the prize pools were from a classic standpoint. And I feel like most people are looking at it from like, oh, how much cash can I win? So like, did you look at like the new distributions at all for in season?
Oh yeah, but that part of the conversation is with the part of the conversation that I am happy about. Like, it's just part of the conversation, but it's just a different part.
Yep. So yeah, MLS, K League, and J League will have early access cards.
Oh, I thought they got rid of the K League before. They're actually auctioning it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
K League, rise up, baby! Let's go.
We'll also do our best to launch the Argentinian clubs cards before the season kicks off. Gentlemen, how many days before the season kicks off will they start selling cards?
I feel like this is a trick question, Laird, because I know what your thoughts are on this.
The league starts in 2 weeks.
So last week. Or today. Today would be like the least reasonable expectation I would have.
Okay.
What about you, Laird? What is your thoughts on that?
I think they're going to sell them 5 minutes before the first game starts.
Okay. Why do you think the reason is for that?
Because they don't. I think they didn't even know that the Argentina Super League was starting in 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
At least maybe they knew, but they sure acted like they had no idea. Anyway, new XP system. Yay.
We
XP
kind of
bar.
I mean, it makes I like the 1 to 10 thing. That makes sense. Like the levels.
No half levels anymore, or no half percentages.
Yeah, I think it's less complicated for sure.
Mm-hmm. Whatever.
Yeah,
it's not a plus or. What are they doing with collections? Is everything collection wise staying the same? Because they didn't talk about it.
The only thing that is changing, which is a humongous win for Lairdinho FC here, is if you have 2 cards of the same player from the same collection. Previously, only one got the collection bonus percentage, and now both do.
Yeah, I think that was a good thing because I always thought that was kind of a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't really know how, like, actually, let me go into this XP. So you can win XP, and then I understand you can decide who you give the XP to, like which cards you give it to. And they said that basically the higher level cards will have a cooldown. Will have a longer cooldown. You can't just like keep boosting adding XP to the same card week after week after week. How do you actually get XP?
In the top 30 to 50%, right?
Is that what it is?
Yeah. In season, there's no XP in classic.
Right. Which is really funny because they do level ups in classic, but I think they're getting rid of that, and now it's only an in season that you can get it.
Yep.
Okay. But don't worry, cards will seamlessly adapt. Should I use all of my level ups now?
100%.
Couldn't tell you. But what if those level ups become like a full 1% level up instead of the 0.5% level up they are now?
Well, I think they go. Level ups aren't going to be a thing. It's just going to be a fixed amount of XP.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. Sure.
So I guess I'll say, do we think that the level ups that you have will be converted into XP amounts, or they're just like use them now and
my guess is they'll give you a date and time and be like, you have to use your level ups by this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Clip said you use it or lose it, which I don't remember reading, but
I don't either, but I didn't care that much about this portion, so I wasn't. But I would assume that's what they'll do.
There was an interesting one about the training lineups. Like, cards don't passively just earn 75 XP anymore outside of being in training or in a lineup. That's not a thing. They have to be in a lineups or training to get XP.
So they're keeping training?
It sounds like it.
More details on XP and training teams will be shared in early February. Okay.
Yay.
Okay. I should have just read that. Okay. Divisions. Sean, we are moving from 5 to 3 in limited, 4 to 3 in rare, 3 to 1 in super rare. Unique is staying 1. And we have some updated promotion and relegation percentages. Now the bottom 30% in Division 1 gets relegated as opposed to the bottom 25%. And the top 15% in Division 2, I'm going to Division 1, get promoted instead of, that might be the same. Is that right? Is it 15% now?
It's going, whatever, it doesn't matter.
I think it's 20, some sort of 20. I'm sure there's
it was 25 or 12 and a half.
Yeah, there's a 2 somewhere.
There's a 2 somewhere? Okay.
Yeah.
Sean, you have not been the biggest proponent of divisions. So how are you feeling about these adjustments?
Thank God. Thank God. I would say divisions is a good reason why you guys haven't seen me for like a month and a half, because I just cannot be bothered with them. I do not like them. Now, I will say I understand people liking them, and I think this is a good balance for them. If you're at the unique level, you shouldn't really have divisions. If you were at the super level, the biggest issue I had with divisions was especially at the super level. If you were not in D1, you could not win anything of value, no matter what. It didn't matter. In the rare and limited levels, if you are in divisions 1 or 2, I think Laird said 1 or 2, possibly 3, you could win a star. Well, that means you could still win a big dog card. If you are in the super division, you were in division 2, you just weren't going to get a good card. Like you were capped out at tier 1 that was probably going to be not good anyways, and you were just kind of boned. So by them doing this, it is a lot more appealing, in my opinion, especially the super level. I thought this was a great move for the super level. But I also think it's a good level for, I think it's a good move for the rare and limited levels also, because it means that like stuff is going to get compressed. If you finish high, you're going to get good cards. But if you're down in division 3, like you can still get some stuff. So I thought this move was a really positive move. Also, from the cash perspective, I thought the cash prizes look a lot better once you compiled it into 3 divisions than into 5 for like limited, 4 for rare. I know I saw the super rare, one, but I don't think they actually posted it in here, right?
They linked to it.
Oh, they linked to it. I didn't see the link. Like, look at that. Go back up real quick. Go back up. Look at this Premier League in season. That's fantastic. Like, that's really good. If you win, you smash. You're going to get 5K. That's sick. But you know you probably can't win every week because, you know, Pranksy's out there, Bellama's out there. Like, those guys are out there. But if I get 7th, all right, cool. I get $200. There's at least, like, if I was in division 2 and 3, I was going to win, like, not very much anyways. Whereas, like, now, if I'm in this spot, I can just smash. Like, if I am actually playing it, like, if I can't come in the top 15, I probably don't deserve a card anyways, right? Like, I just don't think I would have deserved a card regardless if I can't come in the top 15. Whereas, like, in the past, like, can you go to, like, Division 3 and Division 2 here? So, like, Division 1, no, go back to what it is currently. So, like, Division 2, all right, $1,300, and then Cliff, and you still, like, you got to come top 4. And Division 2 is really difficult. There's so many guys in Division 2. There's so many people. Division 3, worthless. Like, it doesn't matter what you do in Division 3, you're just not really going to get much. Now, you come in, like, 6th in this new format, you get $200. Okay, cool. If I come 5th, I get $500. Well, if I can't come in the top 5, I probably don't really deserve tons anyways. So I just think it's a lot better of a movement for the super rare levels. And I think that also the classic competitions look a lot better. My one gripe, and I can't really do it in super rare from a classic perspective, I wish they were giving out one more tier 1. But obviously they probably can't. But now if I come top 5, I'm probably getting at least a decent card. Even top 7, I'm probably getting a decent card. And if I'm below that, I probably don't really deserve tons anyways. So, like, it just this, I think the change they made from a division standpoint is a pretty big positive. And I think that most people that are playing, like, super rare and uniques aren't sitting there, like, wanting to play in division 2 and 3. Like, if you're playing super level, you probably don't want to be playing division 2 and 3s. If you do, go down to rare. Like, simple, go down to rare. But also, like, I think from a rare level, like, go up to the new rare level with the divisions. I think it's just way more appealing in general. Like, not classic, but the new in season for class or for Premier. Like, you get 65th gets $100 in D1. That's pretty good. Like, even in Division 3, you get $500 for winning because it's just, like, sort of compressed. I think it's just a lot better of an option now.
What's the so there are a bunch of comments here in the chat. Misaki said super rare being one division means you're always competing versus all the whales no matter what, which really is just like Pranksy 3 times, also Bellama 3 times. Quinny said if you can't get a reward in division 2 or 3 in super rare, you're not finishing 6th in
if I get an award in division 2 or 3, it's a steaming pile of shit anyways. I'd rather at least have a shot to get something good. I don't want to be playing and have no shot at something good. That is where it is not interesting. And again, so, like, people are saying, like, oh, that's like, so DN said it's only for rich people, and, like, people are talking, you guys don't play super that much. Like, the people that are playing super probably don't want to be playing in division 3 winning a tier 4 super that's worth, like, that literally is a, like, 33-year-old goalie that hasn't played in 3 years. That's not interesting. So I think it's a lot better of a situation now. I think that there is a lot less of a punishment if you get relegated because division 2 is better than what it was previously. If you're in division 3, then you're in division 3, so be it.
I will say that one of the things I liked about this division reduction is basically how long it takes you to get to Division 1
as a newbie. Yeah.
yeah, and so I think that's certainly a positive. The super rare one, so this is actually going to go more into the new requirements that in season super rare competitions, in season super and unique, will require 4 in season cards, and they currently require 3. And they're doing a progressive adjustment, which is nice. They did that for MLB and NBA too, I think. The justification was essentially it's going to be easier to win because there are going to be fewer cards that can be entered, and so fewer people, and so lower scores can win. Harry, you're a super rare in-season player regularly. How do you feel about having to get another in-season super rare?
Yeah, it's annoying for sure, because obviously when the league came out this morning, we didn't know any of these extra bits, and it was just, what one division. Like I was thinking in my head, like for this upcoming weekend, for example, I'm excited about my D1 Challenger Super entry in season, but I'm not excited about my D2. Well, in a month's time, I won't have to worry about that. Like I'll have just one, it's all D1, right? Which was great. And then obviously they dropped the news about the Form 1. I mean, I get it from like an OCD perspective for them. Like, everything's in line now, isn't it? Across the scarcities. But yeah, the justification, I mean, like, that's just not true, is it? Let's be honest. It doesn't, just because someone's going to play an in-season card over a classic, that doesn't mean the scores are going to be low. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that at all. So yeah, honestly, like it is a bit of a kick in the balls. I guess the opposite end of that is, well, we don't have to worry about division. We don't have to worry about relegation and stuff. So yeah, there's positives to it, but yeah, there's no positive for us to have to buy another card, like buy another in-season card. We're still buying classics, I guess, but they're just going to be more expensive. So yeah, I am a bit annoyed about the 4-1. I can't lie. Because I thought that would be the carrot to why maybe you would jump up. The carrot now is, of course, you're playing against less players, but that's always been the carrot, jumping up scarcities. The new carrot is you don't have to worry about divisions. So like they've kind of manufactured a carrot out of nowhere that doesn't cost anything, which is giving us divisions and then taking them away, if that makes sense. Which is good, but like it doesn't cost anything for that. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those like sort of imaginary like reasons why I'd want to move up. Yeah, there's no positive for the Form 1. Let's be real.
Sean, did the change to no divisions in Super Rare change your opinion about playing in-season Super Rare more regularly?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Quinny just said Super Rare had 0 good news. I would argue Super Rare only had good news. Like, but again, yeah, people have said it's my perspective. Yeah, it's my perspective. Like, if the average user, so this is great. It did for Wales, like Sean. Average users probably should not be playing Super Rare. Like, Super Rare is supposed to be a higher level competition. It's not supposed to be for every user on the platform. Would you guys agree? Like that the average users should be playing like rares and limiteds. That's like what is designed for that. So I think that this update, and people can argue, and that's fine, that this hurt people, and it did. But I think this sort of separated a little bit the like higher level players and the lower level players. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that that's a reasonable approach. Like part of the issue historically has been like everything is catered to the low level player, whereas now it's sort of moved it to where it's like you can still play. Also, I saw Philly Dilly said you need to spend $30,000 to compete at Super Rare. I could probably buy every card on the platform for $30,000. Like Carlos Gill's like $125 at the Super Rare level. Like it's people are acting like it's some astronomical amount you have to spend. I could literally buy the 5 best MLS cards for like $800 in the Super Rare level right now. So I just think that people are, I don't know. I think people are just like complaining. Deanne said Super Rare is not for broke boys. Everyone's a broke boy.
So I think the big thing that some people are kind of missing, because there was a comment, where was this? Like going to a single division also makes crafting a tier 5, 4, and 3 useless.
All right.
People are saying that like what the move to single division super rare does allow are the people who want to make that terrible team, and the one time that it hits, you can win the best prize, which is like exactly what people have been complaining about with divisions this whole time. And are you going to win all the time? No. Could you never win? Yes. But like, it's to the point now that if you wanted to build a lower level super rare team and just run that every game week, the week that it hits instantly pays it off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we've moaned about that not being a thing, haven't we, for a long time?
Right.
Yeah.
Like the cost to entry versus the actual jackpot prize in super rare has never been, hasn't aligned with maybe limited and maybe even rare. But yeah, but someone said in the chat there, what did they say? Which I'm not agreeing with at all. Where's it to?
Well, Philly Dilly also said that he calls bullshit on my MLS Supers. Carlos Gil is selling for $200. Like, how expensive do you think a good team would be in the MLS if that card's selling for $200?
That's a classic, though.
Yeah, but I'm talking classic.
Yeah, that's the issue.
The end season's going to be different, but like I'm talking classic. Like, I don't understand how it can be that expensive if Carlos Gil is $200. Like, it's just not.
We don't have the prize pools. Harry, how much do you think the first Carlos Gil in-season super rare cost? If the classic is 200,
right? Well, I mean, it's got to be in the 600 plus, hasn't it? Really, I don't know, 500-600 plus easy. You've got to think.
I was literally going higher.
Really, I mean, yeah, maybe I'm being conservative there. One thing I was,
especially because it's MLS only. Like there are only so many guys who score like him.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, it's probably more. But let me just point something out. Someone said about the tier 3, 4, and 5 being worthless. That's rubbish. That's absolute rubbish. I've won Challenger in season Super Division 1 with Zanka. and I've podiumed with him as well in the last literally 3 weeks. Like, and now he's moving to the Galaxy, which is great. But like, he was a tier 5 craft. Like, I'm not saying everyone is going to work out like that, but I have a literal proof that I'm using tier 5s in my best lineups and they're winning things. They're winning big things. So I don't want to hear that. Maybe, there is obviously going to be some duds in there. I'm not disputing it, but ultimately you can get lucky and you can get hot. All my crafts recently, those Norgisland boys led all tier 5s. And they're all usable cards. I've scored 100 in the last couple of weeks. Like, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I do too.
Now they don't have to compete with Carlos Gil.
Yes.
Well, it was funny he used Zanka, who is literally an MLS point now.
Now he is, yeah.
Now he is, yeah.
Like, I podiumed All-Star Super Rare with Jajedi Gassama. I don't even know what team he's on.
Would you win?
I don't know, but I got third. I don't know what I won.
Oh, this game week. Sorry. So Nanzo said 2-1 classics in super rare in season is a bit of a deal breaker for me. That's
I mean,
a pretty big statement from somebody who probably plays those competitions pretty heavily.
Yeah, he's going to play him anyways. I do think it's a bit much. I think Unique's ridiculous. Like, the issue is like, all right, to have 4 in-season Unique players that are playing, that are healthy, like, man, you need like 10. Like, to get 4 that could play consistently within the different positions, like, you need like 10. That's so many, especially at the Unique level. Super, it's a little bit different, but I don't know. Yeah, 4 to me at those levels. Did they not change limited and rare? Like, that is still 4?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a bit much, but
the only thing that you need all 5 for is the MLS beat the game mode.
Yeah, Quinny said winning those cards in D3 and D2 and D3 is pointless. So who cares anyways? Exactly. They are pointless. That doesn't mean they're not going to win occasionally. Like, they're still going to get there. Like, it's still better than nothing, but it's not. I want a chance to win something good, not no chance of winning anything good.
Moving on.
But again, it goes back to the point. Like, I think that if you're playing, so I think for Quinny, he should not be playing super level. He should be playing the rare and limited levels. If that's what he feels, and he doesn't want to invest in the super levels, the rare and limited levels are made for that. There are divisions there still. There are still ways to go and run those guys if you want in the lower divisions.
I think, kind of looking at the way that Harry has been playing in season super rare, that strategy almost becomes more viable now with one division.
Yeah, well, because you can just finish like 12th and get $100 or $200.
Yeah, but it's just like everybody was saying, like, you can't run like your shit stacks for fear of relegation. Now you don't have to worry about that. You can just run it all the time.
You can go all guns blazing. Like my most successful period right now is in Challenger Super at D1. Like I'm winning cash there very consistently. Like I mentioned, I won it with Zanka, podium twice with him. You can do it with these odd little, odds and ends cards. It's possible.
Philly Dilly asks, Sean, is your issue with divisions the pro and relegation that you can't win what you want? And I think that just picking your divisions would be a straight up better option. So my issue, which I mean, Laird, you'd agree, I have been down. I don't like divisions. No matter if I win or lose or win D2 or win D1, I don't like divisions. I haven't liked it since it came out. Would you agree?
You hate divisions, yeah.
Yeah, hate them, despise them. My biggest issue is that super level, you cannot win the best cards unless you are in D1. Period. There's no chance to win a good card unless you are in D1. If you are in D2, D3, yeah, maybe you can get a T2, T3 that can like help you, but you cannot win the best cards. And you sit there and you go into the week and you have a good line, but then all of a sudden your guy gets appendicitis and gets his appendix taken out, and you're just dumped down to D2, and it's like, this is so stupid. So in terms of divisions, yes, I think that would be a better option if you could pick and choose what your divisions. I think Surface in Discord the other day mentioned something about like you can only have one lineup in each division max, or something like that, where like you got one lineup in D1, one lineup in D2, one lineup in D3 every week, and that never changed. Reasonable as well. So anyways, I think that yes, there is parts of it. I think the way that the divisions were previously constructed was really poor. And I think that this is an improvement. I think your option of choosing which division you entered also would have been an improvement. So I think that there's also options within that.
Moving on, rewards revamp. No more double rewards, meaning if you win cash or a card in any in-season or classic competition, respectively, you don't win anything else, which that's fine. The big one that I really like here is Essence rewarded directly through the leaderboard, meaning people behind you are not going to win more Essence than you, because it's just right out of a reward box, which I really like. But we're also seeing reward boxes removed from competitions and now will only be part of special events, which is where you'll earn your market credits, apparently. Harry, does that change anything for you?
I think, yeah, from a selfish perspective, I said that in my video, like, I make content, like not everyone does that, which is fine. And I get this, it like affects me more than, someone that doesn't make content or whatever. But like, yeah, I enjoy making reward videos. I like the unknown element of reward boxes, or did like them. And I think that does provide a bit of fun, I guess, a bit of unknown for content. Now, the only unknown now in this game is you don't know who you're going to craft and you don't know who you're going to pull out of a prize pool, obviously. So, like, fine. It's probably enough to get by. But, yeah, I am a little bit disappointed from a really selfish perspective. I'm not asking anyone to agree with me that we don't have boxes. That's kind of the only reason for me personally.
In fairness, you say, like Deanne said, L for content creators. I mean, content creators make that content because people want to watch it. Like, it's an L for everybody.
Fair. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, fair. Okay. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, we just want to open stuff, man.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad. Why recently did they it seemed to me like they changed like all of the mechanics and whatnot with reveals, and it just got worse. Like it looked way worse, and I'm like, why did they do this? It looked like,
don't open your money, like it gets automatically allocated, and then
and like the way that it was revealed and stuff was just like kind of shit.
My theory was that somebody from EA called them and was like, you have the exact same reveal as us. Either you're changing it or we're doing something about it. And so they did. Anyway, I feel like we kind of talked about the prize pools at all. Like, is there anything that you were either expecting here or was like surprising? Like, it all seems like it's a bit higher and it's because there are fewer divisions, but like you can go through all of like this. This is literally a blog post that is just graphics of reward pools. And I'm not sure there's any reason, like, we're competing for whatever. Like, is there anything you could possibly see in here that changes your strategy at all?
No, you just want to be in D1 even more so than ever before, basically.
Right. Yeah.
which I think is fine. I think we've been rewarding mediocrity for a while on this platform, haven't we? We've been grinding, and ultimately that's not where Sorare are going to make the most money. Like, they're going to make the most money by selling good cards, and we want to buy those good cards to stay in the good divisions. Ultimately, that's the ecosystem.
Quinny's literally yelling at me in chat because he wants to reward mediocrity today.
Right? I get. I don't know. I just think, unfortunately, we do have to kind of move away from that. I say we as if I'm sorry, I'm not, but you know what I mean? Like, I get why they're moving away from that for sure.
That's fair. So they have confirmed that Essence does not expire. I thought this wording was really funny. You no longer have to worry.
Same.
Which means like they are admitting that they know that their users were worrying and yet said nothing about it until now. But whatever.
I took it as the way I read it, I was like, wait, I was supposed to worry about that? I didn't think that was happening.
Goose said, I'm frustrated that I can't use my Zinc anymore as a non-MLS player. It sounds like you're now an MLS player, Goose. Anyway. Brad said, am I reading this right? You won't be able to win XP for classic cards. That's another nail in the coffin for the secondary market, given the XP hits the cards take in the transfer. I don't believe that is correct. No. I believe you cannot. Oh, I'm sorry. You can win. You cannot win XP with classic cards, but you can apply XP to classic cards.
Yeah. That's a tricky one, though, isn't it? Because
that is interesting. Yeah.
That's another way to force you to play in season. Unfortunately, Not saying it's right. I'm just saying that is what they're trying.
Where's the prize pool part of the original link, Laird?
It was right here in the rewards revamp.
Thank you.
In this right here. Check out the full details in this blog.
Good point. Pascal says you'll also just get XP from just putting out a classic lineup, right?
Right. You don't like 75. Right. You don't win XP, you just get it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to you showcased, and I wanted to bring it up because I think it was an important comment that Nanzo made. What is your guys' thoughts on this in terms of like another big overhaul, just like 6 months after the last one, when we've been told they're going to like not drastically change stuff again? Because one of my biggest concerns and issues with Sorare over the last couple of years has been that there is just such drastic, massive changes to the platform and the gaming side of things. And they just happen all the time that it's very, I just like, let's say you're a challenger boy and you were like, oh, hey, MLS is starting. I'm going to go buy Carlos Gil for $200. And then this happens and you're like, what the hell did I do that for? And that concerns me. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, there's no way to like sugarcoat it. It's not ideal, is it? From that, that scenario, there's other scenarios, examples to probably give as well. But someone always gets affected with things like this. I just think like we're still like, this is the first time we've had MLS early access. This past August was the first time we had, European League early access. Like, after this year, like once the MLS is done, like that's year one done, isn't it? As far as like how their new model goes, the in-season, the classic, the early access. Like, I still think we're in that like the teething stage, if that makes sense, even though this product's 5 years old or whatever. Like, but this specific system is still not fully implemented because we haven't seen it come out for MLS yet. I'm kind of reserving my judgment a little bit on like, in like for the next European season. I know they mentioned Classic's going to get a big overhaul or whatever, but I'd like to think that like not a ton's going to change like that time, if that makes sense, or in that time.
So I think it just needs a little perspective. Like the changes that they made essentially last year, like completely overhauling the game, were necessary because the game was going to break. Like it was breaking and they stopped by doing this new system. And they were very clear that the first few months, basically, what did they start in? They announced it in February, started in March, this transition period, which we knew there would be changes. August, they're like, all right, full go ahead. And we get to this point and it doesn't seem like, I think maybe the change last year was so big that I don't consider this change nearly as big. Like obviously MLS is a big change, but like divisions are staying. We still have promotion and relegation. We still have in season and classic. Like that stuff's not really changing. It's just like I feel like they're changing the details more than like the actual gameplay. And obviously like the MLS thing is pretty major for people who have MLS cards, but for those who mostly ignored it, and I think that's a decent percentage of the Sorare user base, it's just kind of like, okay, great. My cards got better because I don't have to deal with them, but it's not anything they have to like actively do because of that change. So I guess, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like I don't put this change nearly in the same breath, like in terms of the size of it as the one last year when they made it literally to like keep the site going.
Yeah, I don't think this is as big as that change, obviously, but I still think it's massive. I think that expect like super level, like this changes were dramatic, and we clearly have people on both sides of the spectrum on that. So
right, but
I
again,
think
that's still it's such a minimal part of the player base.
yeah, but like, what's to stop them from next year being like, okay, guys, Eredivisie is going into Champ Europe?
And that's always been the case, though. They could
Yeah,
always
like,
do that.
to me, it's concerning that that's going to happen, and that happens frequently. Like I'm saying,
And so
like
that's my thing. I don't consider this frequent.
that's fair.
That's all.
When I guess when I think of like making changes and whatnot to gameplay, I'm thinking of like small tweaks that are instead of like the one they made to the scoring before, where like passes instead of 0.1 became 0.08 or something. Like that to me was more of my thoughts on like how they were going to adjust and change things, more so than like, oh, literally the entire game is going to change every 6 months.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think the game Super Rare, I think is definitely different today.
No, I
Or at
mean
least it
MLS
was.
out of Challenger, like Challenger just had a massive shakeup, like massive.
Yeah, and I still think that like when you look at it, most people play Champ and in those individual leagues, and it just not that MLS and Challenger is kind of like a also an also ran, but it basically is. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting used to change so much that like this doesn't feel that fundamentally different. Like how I play the game, and I barely play super rare. I mostly play limited and rare, combination of in season and classic, and I'm just not sure my gameplay changes all that much.
Well, yeah, I wanted to ask you guys that. Two guys that play super rare a little bit, but not tons. What is your view from this update from a super rare perspective?
From like because I've been buying a few MLS Classic cards recently, super rares, thinking that maybe, I mean I already had some, but just added to what I already had to make it stronger. And now I go, okay, well if I want to play MLS in season, only one of them, only one of them valid now. Like I can only play one with it, right? So that means you'll definitely have to spend more, or I'll definitely have to spend more on in season MLS cards if I want to go and do that. That becomes if I can afford it or whatever, and if I want to do that, if I see it viable. But yeah, I mean nothing really changes from my Challenger stuff really, because like I've already got a decent amount of in-season cards accumulated over the the last 4 or 5 months I've been playing super rare. So yeah, everyone's situation is going to be different, but like not much changes for me. I think I've just got maybe more of a thirst to play in season MLS now.
Yeah, like I mean, clearly chat is differing opinion on that. That's why I was asking, because like to me, this was a clear big positive for super rare, the whole update as a general, with the exception of like the in-season stuff. But I don't think that was super impactful. But some of the discords I was in, it seemed like most people were rather happy about the super rare changes, but it seemed like chat as a whole was not as excited about super rare changes. So that's why I was interested to from your perspective as someone who's more like fringe super rare type of player. And it seems like you're excited. It seems like Laird is indifferent about it.
I can't. I almost don't even consider myself a super rare player at this point, because it's like I don't play in season at all. I'm not actively looking to like add super rares to make them better. And maybe the lack of divisions should change that for me, but it's almost the opposite. That it's like now I know I'm going to be competing against 3 Pranksy, 3 Nanzo, 3 Bell, and so like, again, I have them and I'm going to keep playing them. I'm not at a point where I'm like, let me just sell all my super rares for pennies on the dollar, but I'm also just going to throw them in and hope it hits one day.
Yeah, which I think is reasonable. A couple, Nanzo said, I play all regions and all scarcities. It's bigger than you expect as a change. And I tend to agree with that. I think that there was a lot of changes, especially at the higher scarcities. There weren't really many at the lower scarcities, to be honest. Because like at the lower scarcities, like divisions stayed, they didn't change. They got less, but they still stayed. The in-season amounts didn't change at all. So there really wasn't much impact from that perspective. Whereas the super and unique levels, there was lots of change. But then also, like, for me, that's massive regional change. Like, Challenger's always been my strongest area, but that's because I have like a good mix between MLS and Europe. That now that no longer exists. So now I have to revamp. So like, I understand where you're coming from, because I do think from your perspective it probably wasn't that drastic of a move. Also, Hatlingen said, I'm more concerned about the August gameplay update, classic changes, and possibly removing classic spot from in-season. Yeah, that's happening. Like, quicker everyone just realizes that I think they're just going to completely remove classic cards from in-season, I think would help people, because I think it's going to happen. Every indication is that way. You think that's not the case, Harry?
I mean, I'm not saying I'd be shocked at it, but I would be disappointed if that was the case. I think everyone would probably share that opinion, really, because yeah, that bridge then, the bridge is completely gone at that point, isn't it? And I think that just absolutely just dismantles classic to the point where like it's just like, what's the point even thinking about it? Really, I know you can win in-season cards with it, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you're just up against him. Like, we're just massively up against it.
Sorry, Harry.
You're good.
I think we're more likely to see additional competitions that require 5 in-season cards than make that the standard for in-season competitions. Like, I agree with you. I think that completely breaking off classic from in-season, it just murders classic.
Yeah, I'm not saying they should remove it. They should.
Yeah, no, I know. But I think they recognize, like, I think they know that.
They've already pushed the boundaries at an absurd level. Like, I think 4 in-season uniques a unique is wild. Like, that is truly wild.
What's particularly wild for me with that is now that MLS is out of Challenger, it's like you have to buy them right away.
Well, so another comment I have on that, the real reason, I think a lot of the reason for this change is also, in the past, there was overlap that they have now removed. So you have to buy in-season cards.
Right.
Because, like, I'll give the example. Last season in Rare, going into the overlap season of Europe, I had a Kai Wagner in season. I had a Ricky Puig in season. I had a Carlos Gil in season. I had an Evander in season. Right now, from this European season, I have a Diego Costa in season, a Boscagli in season, a Flamingo in season, a Veerman. So, like, they have removed that overlap at all from me being able to use that. And now if I want to compete in that in season, I have to buy those MLS cards day one.
Right.
Or I'm going to miss a lot of the season. Whereas, like, previously, I would be able to just, which I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing from that perspective.
That's what they did with Champ.
Yeah, I understand what they're doing. But yeah, they've completely removed any of that overlap. Except for I just bought a Kevin Denke super rare. That doesn't. I still get that. I already have an MLS in season super rare. Let's go.
Up the Zanka.
Yeah, so let's go, Gary. We're rolling.
You guys are
One thing I just thought of then. I'll go on. Do Mike? Yeah, go on.
So yeah, Mike was saying I think the league specific comps will be all in season in 25-26.
Yeah, all 5.
What about if they do the threshold for each?
That's what I was thinking.
Comp, right?
They're using this as a tester, I would imagine. That they're going forward every year. I think they're going to use MLS as a tester to see like what it should do for the other regions.
Yeah, because on paper, if there's a threshold and there's an in-season comp for these limited and rare MLS cards, like they should be worth quite a bit, right? Depending on what the actual amounts are that you can win. Jesus, like that could be. We could be back.
Do we? Oh man, I'm not gonna ask that question. Never mind. Just the last 2 things here. Rivals is dead. There's a new game mode that we will find out about soon, and we should expect some more changes later.
What a ball drop on Rivals. Rivals was such a good product. They just botched the shit out of.
Did you see? They mentioned a burn mechanism somewhere. Did you see that?
Oh, they
for
did?
the common
For common cards.
cards.
Sorry, all right, let me hold on. I'll bring that in. You're right. You're right. Was that in the Rivals Last Dance here? This new game, so the new game mode, which we don't know anything about, daily components, card packs, and plenty of surprises. New game mode will also bring back common card ownership and introduce a burn mechanism for added strategy and fun. Now, they have a common card trading game for NBA. You're not like burning common cards because like if they're common, who cares? But if that's what it is, yeah, Ricomon said, I assume it's like NBA common swap. That's all it is.
No mention for deadlines or anything. Do we find that weird or no?
I think that's one of the ones that they would do in August, and they'll announce that at sometime else.
Because like if MLS has its own comp, there's no reason to have a Friday 3 p.m. lock, really, because the MLS communication website thing comes out like an hour after, so you just get absolutely just railed on that most of the time. I know, to be fair, there is quite a lot of Friday night games in the MLS for the upcoming schedule. There was last year, like New York played a lot of Friday night stuff. So I get it'd have to be on a Friday, but like make it a bit later, you know?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, and if that's under consideration, then they should just do it for all of the single league comps.
Fair. Yeah.
You know, it's basically like Champ would have to lock at the first one for, you know, if the Prem has or Bundesliga has a lot of Fridays. So like Champ would still lock and Bundesliga would lock, but that doesn't mean the Prem does.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much money did they waste to develop Rivals? Any guesses? I don't think I don't think it's wasted at all. Like there were a lot of people who came and played Rivals because it was a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll disagree with that.
You don't think a lot of people joined Sorare to play Rivals?
I don't think that's his point. I think his point is how much money was spent into that to just discard it after like a year.
I mean, if you look at it like a marketing thing, all marketing campaigns end at some point.
Yeah, I just think they had something pretty good with Rivals that they just didn't do well with. I know you disagree with that one, which is fair.
It's not that I disagree with it. It's just that wasn't a game mode I ever wanted to grind.
Correct, but I'm saying like I think that there was a lot there that they just like didn't know what to do with, and they just pissed down their pants and like did the worst possible stuff they could do with it. Yeah. So Just Heart asked, are they going to move the MLS game line? Because MLS locking 10 a.m. on Friday sure as shit doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's what Harry was just.
Yeah.
I
honestly thought they were going to do something with like late swap or different lock times or something. I thought that was going to happen.
I think the last thing that they said explains why they didn't do it now. As most leagues and competitions are already underway, we've avoided making major mid-season changes. We know that there are specific areas managers still want improved, particularly classic mode. That's why we're targeting August, the start of the new European season, as the time for broader and more ambitious changes. Although it does say to classic gameplay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ryan just said that Nicholas liked a comment from someone asking about deadline for MLS on Twitter.
He's back.
Yeah, but okay, so that goes into the whole discussion we just had.
Sean, what could they have changed about Rivals that's not just giving away more rewards?
There was just a lot that could have been done differently with the Rivals product. It could have been treated as like an actual gameplay and product instead of just like what it was. I know Laird disagrees with this. I thought it was an absolute dog shit entry level game for people. I just don't think it was good for that. I don't think it was a good mechanism for that. I think it was better for people that were more established and like knew what was going on Sorare. And the fact that it was like so disconnected from like the normal gameplay was weird.
David said, to be fair, Rivals is the only reason I open the Sorare app after the deadline closes.
Yeah, I think the Rivals, I people still playing Rivals. Like I don't hate that at all. Rivals is such a good gameplay. Like Rivals was a really good gameplay that I just don't think it got maximize. I think it could have just been a lot more than it was.
Philly Dilly said another super rare question. So we think they'll have cash for first, second, and third, and then a tier 0 card for fourth, fifth, and then a tier 1 for 6, 7, 8, and Essence still at 25%. There's still podium cash. Yes, there's still podium cash. That's the only place that you can get 2 rewards.
Oh. No, what I think he's saying basically is like, obviously we'll have MLS in season, yeah, and then we'll have classic MLS, and obviously the threshold. But like that classic MLS, will that have cash on the podium, if that makes sense? Go on.
So I think so. And I only say that because they specifically mentioned how, let me see if I can find it. The podiums, maybe not. The podiums of existing classic competitions will remain an exception to this rule, which was the no more double rewards, with both cash and cards rewarded for the same ranks. So yeah, maybe MLS Classic won't have podium cash. Or they have podium cash, but not a card.
Got you.
That would be rough.
Yeah, it's not going to be that. It's going to be the card, isn't it? Like,
remember all that excitement about MLS?
No, but I mean, that'd be rough regardless. See, even if you take one away, that makes it real rough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you, it has the possibility to make that pretty damn rough.
How much is like a Bundesliga Classic podium cash now these days?
A couple $100.
Classic. I'll go to, since we thought it was similar to the Bundesliga, $700 plus a star plus a 5-star box. Obviously the boxes are gone, but
yeah, that'd be quite rough, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, because part of the idea with like the prizes, like you think of it as a decently big prize because of them combined. If you remove half of that, it makes it less like that, especially at like the MLS level where they're just not going to be as expensive. But again, we don't have the information, so we're gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Yippee Kaye says D1 Classic is greater than D3 in season now if you hit a podium. I would say D1 Classic win is better than anything, including a D1 podium or a D1 win in season.
No chance.
Most weeks, no?
Not anymore, no.
No.
It might have been at the start, but no, not like you can't compete with 3. Like, there's no card over like $700 these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, and in season D1, Bundes like 2.5K. So
I'm saying
right.
Right now, Champ Classic is a star and $1,000.
So it depends on what is in season 3,000.
Right.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends.
Well, actually, I don't. Sorry, no. Champ right now is 2,500.
Well, it depends.
There's no $1,500 star rare, is there?
No, there's nobody on the platform.
Yeah, there is. Super level for sure.
No, but we're talking about rare.
The rare level. So what is it? So it's rare. No, super. It's probably yes.
Well, Prem's 5K. So if you can find a card that's
no, I mean but like Musiala went for 3,500 this week, so I'm assuming Cole Palmer's worth that. So it's probably in the ballpark.
Yeah.
But it obviously like later.
Also, they only reward 3 of them. So
later in the season, it's obviously worth less, which we're a good chunk of the way through the season. So that's all very fair.
What's going to be better, playing now that MLS has a designated competition classic or in season?
Like, is MLS Classic better than MLS in season?
No.
Well, we don't know the in season prices. We don't know the in season prizes. We don't know anything. Actually,
probably not, but we don't know.
I'm just trying to think of like how quickly the MLS star pool is filled with guys you're like, he's a star.
Oh, it's going to be like
goalies.
Well, it's going to be it's definitely going to be goalies, but it's like it's a lot of players because with 30 teams and 25 players per team that they have.
How big is the Prem? How big is the Prem star pool? Because like add 50%.
Right, but
there's like less stars to every team, isn't there, in the MLS? You know, like there's only 2 or 3 DPs or whatever. So,
well, some of those DPs aren't very good, anyways.
No, I know, but that proves my point. Like, you're not going to have as many like actual stars in those MLS
Yeah,
teams.
to be fair, no one here is really outrageous.
So it's just 12. Is this? Did I click?
That's
on
Bundesliga.
Oh, I thought it was champ. I was like that. Oh yeah, sorry. Oh no, yeah, but we wanted to do or
Yeah,
Prem, I guess.
So in theory, MLS will have 18 guys. That will be just a lot of goalies and
Like I was looking like
it's probably reasonable.
Yeah,
Maybe
who do we get?
value.
He's not going to be there. Yeah,
Messi, Peck, Cucho, Hartle, Gill.
Yeah, but you got to sort it by rare value because like some of these guys aren't.
Alba, maybe even.
And this is going to be flawed because it's classic, but at least they'll give
Reggie
you an
Cannon.
idea.
Like it's.
Freeze.
Like is Paintsel a star?
He's gonna be really close.
Yeah.
Orlando if he stays. Blake. It's going to be half keepers. Let's be honest.
For sure. For
Easy.
sure.
It's gonna be half keepers like it always is.
Do we see at some point this season Brad Guzan make it into the star pool?
Imagine.
I don't think so. I think he's too old.
Okay. All right.
I think he's too old.
To be fair, Atlanta have a great starting schedule. So imagine, like,
I'm just saying,
a couple of 90s, and the star pool's calling his name.
David Alves, what happened to U23 in the summer without MLS in season rewards, only Asia rewards? I mean, I assume you can win
MLS. It's global.
MLS there. Yeah,
it's a global competition. You should be able to win both.
Yeah.
There was hardly any mention of under 23, by the way, in the whole thing.
What do you mean hardly any? There was none.
That's probably
yeah, I think it was
there
mentioned.
Any?
Like, I think the word under 23 was mentioned once because they called it like what they call their competitions, like
at least they didn't try to get rid of it, Harry.
Legacy or whatever. Yeah, I know.
There you go. With the new competition structure and division changes, we're upgrading our reward system for all core competitions: Prem, La Liga, Bundesliga, Champ, Challenger, Contender, and U23. That's the only U23 reference in the entire blog.
Actually.
Did we get a here's the U23 prize pool.
What's that? Unique.
So you can't win a card in unique under 23?
No, just Essence below the card. Oh no. It says tier 1. Tier 1, tier 2, tier 3.
Oh, that's funny.
Not much has changed. It's obviously everyone's bumped into 1, which I don't mind it, but
yeah. Will we see a defender in the star pool at any point? Oh, certainly.
Wagner stays.
Wagner, if he stays, yeah.
If Wagner doesn't stay, I don't know because there's not very good.
It's a good point here. It's a positive that they mentioned U23 as a core gameplay.
They're in the core, yeah. I don't mind.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Tyler said moving Brazil to Contender is pretty bad for those cards. There aren't even that many of them.
Cards.
It sucks for me because I had quite a lot of super rare. Like I have a goalie.
Yeah.
I have like Bruno Fuchs. And I don't want to play Contender if I'm being honest. So if anyone wants my Brazil super rares, they'll probably be
Hulk's now. All I'm looking for is a good contender forward. Now Hulk, baby.
There's a few smashes now. Depay. There's a couple of interesting.
Savarino.
Brazil's back.
So, what?
He said Brazil's back. I do not know what that is.
Ben Johnson said, I just bought a Sao Paulo stack this morning.
Ben, you just got turned into a contender boy so fast.
So fast.
I feel for you, Ben. But buying a full stack of some team hours before we know a huge gameplay change is coming feels risky to me.
Yeah, some of us buy Brad Guzan, some of us buy Sao Paulo stacks. There's just two different people in this world.
And some of us had Brad Guzan's cards for years already. You're going to get outscored by K-League Farmers League teams. Sean, you got any last thoughts on this?
No, we'll see. We'll see once MLS stuff is announced, like what we're looking at, and then we can have a better opinion on it.
In your expectation of what was coming, do you feel more positive than negative?
Meh. I mean, again, I think that I don't have an opinion on that yet because I was definitely not expecting MLS to get removed entirely from any league. Like, honestly, if anything, it would have made more sense to move them to Contender and have them, like, because then them, J League, K League all play in the summer. I don't know. So like I said, I think it was a good divisions update. I was happy with that. I think it was a positive for super rares to some extent. I think it's like a kind of neutral announcement with a big caveat of we will see, depending on what the MLS stuff does, whether it was a good or bad announcement.
I think the putting MLS kind of on an island versus putting them in Contender is actually, like, I think that's the better outcome.
Probably.
Because you don't.
If you put it in Contender, you're like, holy shit.
You don't want to win. You don't want to use MLS cards to win Contender, guys.
Yeah, well, you're like, oh my God, now these guys are with the J League or
that's what I mean.
Yeah, you don't want to be like, oh, these guys are playing with the Scottish Premier League. You don't want that shit.
Yeah, your words, not mine.
One thing I just thought of about the Brazilian league, didn't we like notice that they lost 2 licenses or something, or somebody noticed that?
They probably lost all their licenses.
Right, so like
not all of them, but I think they are down to 2. And if I remember correctly, one of them got relegated.
Got you.
Let's see if I can find it.
I was just thinking, was that anything to do with them moving? But it's probably more scheduled and whatever.
Brazil. Oh, it's just gone.
Yeah, someone said they like completely evaporated. So yeah.
Is there any reason to bring them back at this point?
I don't think so. I don't think Brazil was something that people were. The issue is if you don't have a full league, I just think it's kind of shit. Like,
it's funny because they had a full league with Denmark and then cut it, and then
Yeah, they only have 30% full leagues in Challenger now.
Right.
2 out of 6. 33%. So yeah.
I do, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I have quite a few Brazil cards. This was like ugly for them.
Any good ones? I might take them.
Dude, Harry mentioned it, and you might not know, but like Depay's been real good.
Yeah.
Depay's been real good. I don't know. I have a Savarino unique. I have Depay super rare. I probably have 2 Depay super rares. I have no idea how many Depays I have. I have an Aranya. I have a John who is really good in there.
Yeah, Fortaleza in America. I think America got relegated.
Mm.
I mean, to be honest, I do not follow the Brazilian league that much. Like, the league I have most interest in is MLS typically because it's during part of the year where I like don't have as much going on, so I can like pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I like it. Like, honestly, the product's fun. The MLS product's fun. The defenders suck ass, and the better players are way better than the suck ass guys. So like they typically, it's an exciting league. Like, I think I saw something at the end of the year, like the Galaxy had scored 3 or more goals in like 15 straight games when they won the title or something. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
The good thing about the single league though for the MLS, like rubbisher teams, is like everyone's gonna have a chance at some point type of thing. Where like you wouldn't buy a Chris Brady and whoever else Chicago have in defense like stack to play in Challenger. You're just not. Like, let's just be honest.
Whoa. We don't disrespect Chicago Fire like this.
You do in Unique, but or Super Rare, but you don't in Rare. Like, and I just think now that, you know, you can basically pick any of the MLS guys now and just go, they're all relatively valuable. Like, there's nobody that's like steaming piles of shit. They are scoring wise, but everyone is defender wise. So it just evens itself out. Yeah,
it's evenish. DN said MLS is a Mickey Mouse league, 100%, but it's a fun Mickey Mouse league.
It's Mickey Mouse is fun.
Yeah, it's not. Some Mickey Mouse leagues can be fun. Others are just like boring as shit. Or like,
I think you can make the argument that MLS is actually the perfect league for a single league competition.
100%. Because
they mentioned that in the blog. They say like it's the most.
MLS also, should be like a lot more widespread for people like having chances to win because it's the most even league out there. Like even the top teams, like they might be the top teams, but like it's not at the levels of these other leagues.
In season super rare, man. That's where it is. Harry, you got any final words?
No, overall, like I said in my video, I think I am like a neutral. Like I'm very neutral. Like nothing's swaying me either way massively at all. Like I'm gutted about the 4-1 in Super Rare. I'm happy there's no divisions in Super Rare. And then equally, I'm happy that D1's getting a boost, and we're all sort of striving towards being better players in limited rare, wherever. So, yeah, overall, I think I'm very neutral. Like it might change over the next coming days, but like, yeah, I'm happy where I'm at, I think.
I'm pissed, by the way, Quinny wasn't live with this because his reaction based on chat would have been strong.
About
Quinny's in the Liga Super Rare grinder right now.
Yeah, Quinny is not happy with the Super Rare changes. Like in chat, I would say the most pissed off person is Quinny. Like, did you guys ever think we'd see an update where Quinny is the most pissed off person?
Yeah, probably not.
Like they moved Scotland to the shit pile, and he wasn't even this pissed off. I've never would have expected that. Oh, Ryan said Quinny was live. I thought you guys said he was off.
He was live earlier than this. Yeah.
Oh no, they said he was live when was his reaction like?
I don't think he was live.
Quinny was live for 4 hours. Jesus.
Oh wow.
He did like 2 separate streams, I think.
Oh, okay. I only saw the
Live.
first one up there.
Quinny? Were you waiting for like the announcement? They just dragged it so long that you were just on forever.
Yeah, I think he was like thought it would never come, went off live, and then they came back literally 10 minutes later.
Oh, I'm not slandering Quinny at all. Everyone's allowed to their own opinion on stuff.
It's not going to suit everyone, is it? It's impossible.
Yeah, and nothing's going to suit everyone. We've seen that with literally every update they ever do. I never thought we'd see an update where Quinny was like the most pissed off person. Quinny's always happy. But that is like usually like the most negative person would be like Scosmo or something like, and he would be like,
or you.
What did you say?
Or you.
There was only one where I went totally off on.
It was the one where they changed the deadline because all your K League and J League guys got split to the midweek.
No, there was another one. I do think that was unfair to those people, but
yeah. Well, you had a lot of those cards. That's why. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. In fact, go over to Quinny 3001 right now on YouTube and check out his live reaction to all of the changes, including the Super Rare updates that he apparently was not very, very fond of. But anyway, Sean, welcome back. Harry Trades, thanks for coming. And yeah, good luck to everyone out there. Don't forget to go outside.